let U be the elements 1 through 15, whole numbers. A is a set of prime numbers. B is a set of even numbers. C is the multiples of 3. Find and interpret the elements in a set. So what I want you to do to make your life easier is I want you to expand out what A, U, B, C are by defining the universe. You cannot include any number in A, B, and C that is not 1 through 15. So 18 will not be in set C, even though it's a multiple of 3. So what would A be in roster?
2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13.
Good.
So you can't, we won't go over 15.
Can't. It has to come from the universal set. Yeah. Someone else, B? You forgot to add, who do we appreciate? That's okay. And C?
3, 6, 9, 12, 15.
Yeah. I almost picked up this to erase this, by the way. I don't think that's how this works. Okay. So part A is a small review. B prime. That means all the elements of the universal set that are not in B. So in other words, we're taking out the even numbers from the universal set. Yeah. So you'll say 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. And your interpretation is what you just said. All the odds. How about Bart? Yes, part B. B intersect C. That means all the elements that are common to set B and to set C. What elements are those?
6.
And 12. So what does that say in English using the language of the problem? What are 6 and 12? Well, what does B represent? And what does C represent? So put it together. 6 and 12 are the even multiples of 3. So to be in an intersection, it has to be in both of them. So 4, for instance, is in B, but it's not in C, so we can't include it. We only write down what it is in common. Part C, B union C, means we take whatever's in B, and we also tack in what's in C. If they happen to be in both, great. We only write it once, though. Okay? So let's go periodic here, systematically, I mean. So what's the smallest number? 2. Keep going.
3.
Yeah.
4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15.
I'm running out of room. So again, B union C says take whatever's in B and tack on as well whatever is in C. If you have things that they both have in common, great. You only list them once. So what does that say in English? Those are the elements that are even or multiples of 3. I didn't say this earlier, but there's 2 types of or in the English language, OR, not ORE, no OAR. I'm talking about OR. They have inclusive or and exclusive or. We didn't talk about these before, did we? I don't think we did. Inclusive OR is when you go to a restaurant and you order coffee, what do they say? Cream or sugar. That says you can have cream or sugar or both. That's the OR we're talking about here. Either it's in B or in C or in both. The exclusive OR is if you order an entree, they say soup or salad. That means you're going to have soup or salad, but not both, unless you pay extra, which was not the type of OR we're talking about here. So our ORs, unless otherwise stated, are inclusive OR, either one or both. Now it got exciting. The quantity B union C prime. Well, you know what? Let me go back real quick. You have it all in front of you. I don't. Let me copy this B union C that we just did. Oh, I keep forgetting to put it down there. Copy.
So that wouldn't flip it into an intersection, would it?
No. Well, yes, but not the type of intersection you're thinking of. Assuming that I know what you're thinking of. But we'll write it down in a second. Oh, well, let me just copy that part. All right, so right there in blue, that's B union C. So I'm going to put a little tick mark on it to say prime. So we're going to take B union C, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, and take those elements out of the universal set. Whatever is left over is B union C prime. So previously in part A, we only did one set. Well, now in D, you're allowed to make new sets out of old sets. That's what intersections and unions do. So we're taking the new set, B union C, and complementing it. So if you took those elements out, what would be left over with? Yep. Yep. And stop. Good. 1, 5, 7, 11, 13. As Stephen was getting at, this is actually an intersection. However, when you complement a union, I apologize. When you complement a union, it does become an intersection, but you also have to complement the individual pieces. This is the same thing as B prime intersect C prime, which we didn't do. However, let's explain this in English though. B prime says all the odd numbers. C prime says not multiples of 3. So together, in orange here, we have the odd numbers, we have odd numbers that are not multiples of 3, which is a little bit easier to see from the final result. So these are the odd numbers that are not multiples of 3. If we had previously done this, B prime intersects C prime, it's automatically the same as B union C quantity prime. So in English, if I said, I like peanut butter or I like jelly, the complement of that statement would be, I don't like peanut butter and I don't like jelly. So the or becomes an and you negate both parts. So in some of these, you may have to go step by step. Try not to do too much in your head. Last one, E. Notice E uses our answer from D in orange there. But what else do we have to find? The complement of A. Yep. So let's off to the side find out what A prime is. Oh, that looks like jelly. So A is 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. Those are your prime numbers. Take out the prime numbers from your universal set. What What are you left with?
1, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15.
12, what? 4, oh, I got it. Good job. So in part D there, we have B union C prime in orange. In part E, we have begun A prime. So now we're going to take these two guys and what does this symbol say to do with them? Intersect, write what they have in common. Good. So looking at those two sets, what do they have in common?
1.
Is that it? Oh, that's so sad. It's so lonely to begin with. So, I interpreted D as odd numbers that are not multiples of 3. What would A prime represent? Numbers that are not prime. So putting them together, this is the number that's not prime and also not a multiple. Hold on, I can do this. It's not prime, multiple, no, I got it. It's not prime, and it's an odd number that's not a multiple of 3. Crowd goes wild. So it's not prime, and it's an odd number that is not a multiple of 3. Pulse check. I'm okay.